Hello everyone. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day to you. I hope you are having a fabulous day. It is beautiful here in the Oklahoma City area and I am loving it. Just a little cool, a little crisp, but the sun is shining, the rain is behind us, and the birds are chirping. So hello and welcome to this week's Midweek Motivation and Mind Check. I am Nisi Black, your relational strategist, and I am excited to come to you today to share a little bit about entrepreneurship. I want us entrepreneurs to stay positive, to stay focused on everything that it is that we want to achieve in our business, right? And for you guys out there who are still working your 9 to 5, but you're interested in having your own business. So maybe you're doing both. Maybe you're working full time. Maybe you're working your business on the side. Maybe you are working so that you can leave your job, so that you can have a full-time business, whatever it is that it looks like for you. I want you to take away some of the things that I've learned in my entrepreneurial journey, because I transitioned from AT&T 4 years ago. I taught a little bit, and then I started my business exactly 3 years ago this June. And I'm going to tell you, it's a lot of work. There are some ups, there are some downs, and sometimes you just want to throw your hands up. Honestly, realistically. So I would never encourage someone to just quit their job in order to be an entrepreneur. I don't think that's wise, but I think that you can do it in a way and you can learn as you start in order to better your position, in order to make your business successful. Hi, Lori. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate your time. And do the things that are important to help grow your business, increase your visibility, to get you secure and based in your structure, stable foundation that is secure, and that you can avoid some of the mistakes that I have made as an entrepreneur. Because being honest, a lot of people won't tell you some things. You just have to find out the hard way. So I want to mitigate any of that hard way that you might come across. So my business is Life Smarts LLC. I do professional coaching, consulting, teaching, training, individuals, entrepreneurs, small business owners. Hi, Katrina. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate your time today. And going into the business to help people understand relationships, to help people understand why it's important to build relationships moving forward, and how sometimes it really is not all about you. Sometimes it is all about the team and what value you're bringing to that space to help make the team, the business, the relationships profitable, efficient, productive, so that everybody is gaining, right? That's the important thing. Hi, Cheryl. Thanks for joining me, darling. So in this midweek's motivation and mind check, I just wanted to focus on those entrepreneurs who are starting up, who have been in this game a long time, those who are thinking about getting in it, and just share 4 things that I have learned, simple, basic things that you can keep in the forefront of your mind, or maybe even document or write down somewhere that you can refer back to. So the first thing is not to allow your feelings to interfere with business. I know, right? Everybody wants to be liked. Everybody wants to do business with people that they like, know, and trust. But a lot of times there are people out there that maybe you like them, but their message don't really align what it is that your business is jockeying for, that you're trying to build and grow in your space. So you want to make sure that you are connecting with those people who are in alignment with you, and make sure that you focus on the business aspect first. If you are going to be friends, you can be friends later. Take care of business first. And I say that because a lot of times we want to be warm and fuzzy. We want people to like us. We want to be in a place where we are doing business, but it's all warm and fuzzy. And a lot of times the reality of business is not warm and fuzzy. The reality of business is, am I getting out of this relationship and this contract what I expect? Asking the tough questions. Asking the tough questions that a lot of times you don't want to ask because you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Well, you have to do that. You have to set aside personal agenda and conduct business. So you've got to have a mind about yourself of what's going to further your business, what's going to create that next opportunity for you, what is going to get you to the point where your business is growing and flourishing. And sometimes that means asking those tough questions. And a lot of times it means putting people on the spot, not in a bad way, but in a way of checks and balances. So you got to have the structure. You got to be willing to speak up and ask the tough questions and make sure that the people that you're connecting with are in alignment with where you're going in your business, right? That's the first thing. Make sure that you are aligning with people whose messages align with yours. Make sure that you are doing business to grow yourself and them. So you don't want to just take and be the only person getting something out of that relationship. But what are you giving? Making sure that's in alignment as well. And making sure that you are looking at recent testimonials, recent social proof, because people can be anything and anybody on social media, right? They can build this website. It's all pretty. It's all glittery and shiny and it looks good. But look at the proof. I'm not talking about testimonials from years ago, because things have changed from years ago. Look at something that's recent. People who are, raving about them, and contact them to find out what is it about that relationship that they got out of it that furthered their agenda or furthered or grow their business. So recent social proof. Check out referrals, testimonials, references, and be in the know about what it is you expect out of that relationship. So don't allow your feelings and emotions to come to the table first. Business first. Ask the tough questions, so make sure that you are understanding and that you are clear on the person, party, contract, or whatever it is that you're getting out. That's the first thing. The second thing is to inspect everything that you expect. Don't get caught up in the glitz and the glamour of what people say. Make sure that you have a contract. If you're talking about doing business, make sure that you are inspecting what it is that they promise. I really do think that when you're talking about being an entrepreneur, sometimes you want to put aside having some type of legal documentation. Please don't do that. Please protect yourself and your business by doing it the right way. Getting a contract with somebody that you're investing in, whether it's a program, whether it's a coach, whether it's a consultant, whether it's a whatever. Make sure that you get some legal documentation so that you are protected, that your business is protected. If you're going to do business, make sure you get some type of structure for your business, whether it's an LLC, a doing business as, but make sure that it's registered. Make sure that you have a separate bank account for your expenses, your profits, and all of that thing. But make sure that the people that you're doing business with, that you have some type of contractual obligation with them, so that everything is laid out. Make sure that any program that you're even thinking about investing in, make sure that the details of that program are laid out. Okay? I don't want to go according to what you think my results will be. If you're going to guarantee me some results, then lay that out in the contract so that I'll know what to expect. Check out the programs and everything that you're investing in advance, and make sure that they line up with what it is that you want your business to do. Now, and I'm going to say this because when I first started my business, I was opting in to crap. I was connecting with people just because I was like, oh, that sounded good. I'm going to go over here and do this. I'm going to subscribe to this. And then my inbox is full of all of these different programs. Oh, and not just free stuff. I paid for stuff. I paid for stuff that I did not use, because at the end of the day, when it was all said and done, it was like, okay, I got caught up in the moment with that program. It didn't cost me but, well, I'm not going to say just but, $149 is a lot. It cost me X amount of dollars, and I subscribed to that program and did nothing with it. So before we get caught up in the excitement of having a business and the excitement of enrolling in this program, or the excitement of connecting with this coach or this consultant or this program, make sure that all of the details of what that program is going to provide for you is laid out, and that you have an understanding of it. And if you're not sure, then talk to somebody about it. Ask questions. Don't be afraid. Please don't be afraid to ask questions when you are not clear. when you are not clear, or when you have doubts, or when something just doesn't seem right, ask questions. That's important. So inspect everything that you expect. Inspect everything that you expect. Make sure that your contracts are clear. If you are thinking about, giving your services, then by all means do that. But are you getting something in return? Maybe you're getting some exposure, then do that. But have that laid out in the contract. That's fine. Your services should not be free. Your services and deliverables and time and money and everything that you're invested is your business. It is your business. So you've got your folders, you've got your box or whatever it is that you keep your stuff in organized, have your contracts, have your deliverables, have everything laid out, have everything spelled out. Make sure you have some timelines that's in your contract, because what you don't want is for a contract to go on and on and on and on. If it was supposed to be delivered in 6 months and it's not delivered in 6 months, then that's a breach of the contract. But you got to have that laid out and spelled out so that it is legally enforceable if you have to take it there. But make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row and all of your business taken care of, and inspect everything that you expect to get out of that program, out of that connection with that person. So first thing is, don't allow your feelings and your emotions to come to the table. Have business first, and then you can be friends and chummy it up later, but take care of business first. Second thing was, inspect everything that you expect. Make sure that you are clear on what it is that you are to gain out of something that you're about to invest in. And third thing, always have somebody around that you trust to bounce ideas and potential programs and connections off of, because they are separated from the situation. They may know you and what your objectives are, but they can bring a different perspective, and they can bounce back questions to you to say, you know what? Are you sure you really want to do that? Because you haven't laid this thing out first, right? You haven't fulfilled these 1, 2, 3 steps first. Why are you jumping from step 1 to step 10? Right? So have somebody that you trust that you can go to and say, hey, I'm thinking about investing 10 grand in this program. This is what I want to get out of this program. Will you take a look at this with me and see if this is something in alignment with my business? Or maybe there is a different alternative that I should look at to see if I'm going the right way. Don't be afraid to ask the questions, and don't be afraid to say no to anybody that's pushing you to sign up now, opt in now, do this now. If it's good enough today, baby, it'll be good enough next week, or after I've had an opportunity to sit down and see if this is a hit that my budget on my business can take. Right? I don't want anybody else going out and taking money out of their 401 to go do this. There are people that will say, oh, you can find the money. Yes, you can find the money, but not at the expense of your retirement, not at the expense of paying your mortgage, not at the expense of your groceries and your car note and your rent. Right? Be wise when you are doing business. Don't let anybody bully you or push you into doing something that you don't have the funds to do. If it means you have a garage sale in order to get the money to do it, then baby, have a garage sale. There are so many resources around you that you can use to get the money to invest in a program. Right? Does that make sense? Hi, y'all. I see some stuff rolling, but I just want to get this out of me. So always have somebody in your corner that you can trust to bounce ideas off of in advance of you spending that money. Yes, you can always get money, and yes, you can get the money back if it don't turn out that way. But listen, I have wasted so much money investing in so much stuff that did not yield the return I felt I should have gotten. And that was because I go back to number one. I allow my feelings and my emotions and my excitement to get the better of my business thinking. And you can't do that. I would not recommend that you do that. If something sounds good and exciting for you, sleep on it. Sleep on it. Bounce the ideas off of a trusted friend or somebody who is away from the situation that can help guide you in that decision. Okay? The fourth thing, please, 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 please do not give away your products and services. Please, 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 please do not give away your products and services. Can you barter? Yes. Can you give in exchange for something? Yes, by all means. Can you decide to invest in somebody else's business? Absolutely. Do that. But when people are constantly in your inbox asking the same old questions, they are, in a sense, picking your brain without the investment of your knowledge and your experience that you have actually paid for. So, listen, okay, this is a sidebar. For you people, okay, this is a sidebar, entrepreneurs, close your ears. For you people who are constantly asking questions of others, but you're not willing to invest in that person's knowledge, in their experience, in their wisdom, in the blood, sweat, and tears that they put into that degree, into that certification, into building their business, stop it. That is disrespectful. And you know what it does? It shows that person exactly what kind of person you are. You cannot have good quality for free 99. Okay, so stay out of folks' inbox with that mess. Okay, now back to our regularly scheduled program. Entrepreneurs, be diligent about building your business and not giving away your books, your products, your services, anything. I love investing in people. And if I believe in the message that someone is, I will in a minute donate. I will in a minute give my money, give my time, give my services, give my whatever. And one of the things that I decided to do when I published my book, Self-Approved, is I may not always have the money, right? But I can tithe on my book. So the amount of books that I order, I can tithe 10% on that and give that back as my charitable donation of support to some other entrepreneur. By all means, do that. But don't give away all of your expertise. Otherwise, what are they paying you for? What will be their incentive to invest in your program, in your service? What would be their incentive if you're laying out all of your goods on the table on a silver platter? There would be no incentive for them to invest with you if you're giving your stuff away. So we got to get away from that mindset that we're just being nice and that we're just, no, baby, we're doing business. It cost me something. My master's degree cost me something. My coaching certifications cost me something. The memberships in the Coach Federation that I have and the certifications that I get, it cost me money. So don't expect to come to me and say, I want all of this years of knowledge and expertise that you got. I want you to give that to me for free. Maybe I will to a certain point, but maybe I won't. But don't come to people expecting that. And entrepreneurs, be bold. And don't worry about hurting folks' feelings when you say, you know what? I have this program. If you can't afford this one, I have an alternative for you. So how about that? I'm just on this road today, so I'm not even going to apologize for it. Time is out for that kind of thing. So number one, first thing I learned as an entrepreneur is not to bring my feelings and my emotions to the table. I'm bringing my business savvy, my business sense, and my business mindset. We can be friends, we can be chums, we can go out for dinner or whatever later, but handle business first. Period. Second thing, inspect everything that you expect. The program that you want to enroll in, the person you want to do business in, anything that you see on social media that's all shiny and pretty, check it out first to make sure that it is going to benefit you, and stop opting in and just following people for the sake of doing it. Right? Inspect what you expect. Third thing, make sure that you have someone in your corner that you can bounce ideas off of before you invest. Before. And I made that mistake a lot because it sounds good and I wanted to, and I said, and my mindset is this. My mindset is this. I think that'll be good for my business. Oh, I want to do that because I think that'll be a good idea for my business. But then after I do it, it's like, maybe I could have waited on that because it might have been over my head, or it might have been on step 10 and I'm on step 5. So I got to work my way to get to that point where it would even make sense for me. So if I take the time to go to somebody that I trust in advance and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, I'm thinking about doing that. You know what I want to do in my business. What do you think about it? Don't worry about, coming across as being ignorant, because there are no ignorant questions. There are no ignorant situations when you're talking about doing things that's going to make sense for your business and for the budget that you set for your business. And the fourth thing was, don't always give away your products and service. Barter, donate if you want to, but don't let anybody force you or push you into, well, I'm going to give you all this exposure if you just, do this. You don't have to do that. You can decide whether or not you want to. You can make the choice of whether or not it's beneficial for you and your business. That's the important thing. And the last thing that I wanted to leave with you before I go is to make sure that, yes, you are not taking anything that's uncalculated in your business. And what I mean by that is think things through. Consider the risk. Don't be afraid to take risks, but make sure those risks are calculated. Make sure that you are understanding what the outcome may be and maybe have a plan of action. But know in advance that, maybe this will work out, maybe it won't, and here's what I can do as an alternative. But make sure that your risks are calculated. Don't just jump out there all willy-nilly, right? That's the important thing. Be prepared if things don't work out. And decide what it is you can do to counteract or to mitigate any type of calculated risk that you take. I want us to be wise. I want us to be successful and efficient and productive and above all things profitable, and make sure that we're reaching the people that we have in our heart to reach, and that we're making the kind of impact that our businesses are to make and that you want your business to make. I want you guys to be out there and be passionate and kicking butt and taking names and being bold and doing all of the things that are in your heart to do when you first set out to start your business. But I don't want you to be taken advantage of. I do not want you to be on the chopping block or to be what is it? Oh, God, it's right at the tip of my mind. But you know how it is, you're building somebody else's business at the sake of yours. I don't want that. I don't want any other entrepreneur to go through some of the mistakes that I have made, but have learned from. I don't want you to be in that position. So I'm sharing so that you will take a pause. Take a pause. Look over your business. Look over the areas where you can improve. Look over the areas where you've got a whole bunch of excess that you don't need. Trim the fat off of things that are not serving your business. I'm doing that, and I'm learning more about my business and about myself as I do that. I am not afraid to ask myself the tough questions, and I'm not afraid of the answers that I get. Do I expect to make some more mistakes? I absolutely expect to make some more mistakes. Why? Because I am committed to making my business work. And I understand that there is trial and error in being an entrepreneur. I understand that I have to take risk, but I'm going to make sure that the risks I take are calculated. I am not willing to lay my hopes and dreams on the chopping block to build somebody else's empire. I am determined and committed to build my own so that I can have a legacy for my daughters and my sons and those people who I come in contact with, to share the most valuable information with them, to make sure that, okay, let me say this. I do not believe that my intention to be a good coach is wrapped up in having a repeated client. I want to coach people who want to learn for themselves, decide for themselves, grow for themselves, so that they can coach themselves through the next situation, through the same situation that I've coached them on. So I don't want to be coaching people that's coming back with the same old thing and the same old issue and the same old. No. That's not the purpose of a coach. I want to give you information as a consultant so that you can grow and take that same information that I share, the same awareness that I help you create in our coaching sessions. You can take that same awareness and apply it to other situations in your life. There is too much. There's too many people out there that I can serve, and I don't want to continue to serve the same people over and over and over and over and over. And I know that might sound like I'm coaching myself out of a business, and it's not. Because I think that will create a happy client for me who will refer me to somebody else, who will refer me to somebody else, who will refer me to somebody else. And then if something else comes back up in their life, then they'll come back to me and say, hey, she operated in integrity with me. And I appreciate that. And she operated in integrity with those I sent to her. And I appreciate that. So she's got my business, and she's got my referral and repeat business going forward. That's what it's about. So, guys, thank you for letting me vent. What would you add? What are some of the things that you have learned as you progress through your entrepreneurial journey that you can share to prevent people from making some of the same mistakes? Now, I've learned tons more than this, and maybe I'll, make a blog about it or something, or put a webinar together or something about it. But these 4 things are just what was on my heart at the time. And they're simple little things, simple things. And what was so important for me in going back to them is that it's a lot of stuff that I learned when I was in corporate that I set aside because I thought, okay, I'm in this new space, and maybe I have to act differently over here because I have to be a little bit more personable, right? Wrong. It's business first. Yes, I got to be personable, of course. That's a given. But I still have to use what I've learned in my business mind, in my business mentality, and how to conduct business, right? How to conduct business and how to operate with a standard of excellence always, right? That doesn't change whether you're in corporate, whether you're an entrepreneur, small business owner, that does not change. Operating with integrity and with respect, that does not change. It doesn't matter whether you go to work in the next room of your house or you go to work at your 9 to 5 at this building somewhere. Who you are at your core in conducting business does not change. Does your approach change? Maybe. That's possible. Especially when you're dealing with people that has an alternating personality, so to speak, a colorful personality. Maybe you have to adjust a little bit, your approach, and that's okay. But you still operate in business, you still operate with a standard of excellence, and you still operate in integrity at all times, period. Personal relationships too, absolutely. So those were just some things that are on my heart. First, don't allow your feelings and emotions to come to the table. Come to the table with your business brain and business mindset. 2, inspect everything that you expect to receive out of that coaching program, that consulting program, that business relationship, whatever. Make sure that you're inspecting everything. And don't be afraid to ask the tough questions. Don't be afraid to, understand that this is business. This is business. And if the person that you are doing business with is not willing to explain so that you will understand, they're not willing to answer the questions that you're laying out, then think about that. Do you really need to be in business with this person? If you want them to show proof of this and that, and they're not willing to do that, then think about that. Are they the person that you should be connecting with? So think about that. Inspect everything that you expect. Have someone in your corner that you trust to bounce ideas off of, right? Expenses off of, especially if you're thinking about making a large investment into something. Talk to somebody else and say, hey, what do you think about this? Get their feedback. That is critical. Have somebody in your corner to do that. And don't be so quick to give away all of your expertise for people who are not willing to invest. Free 99, that's so that's so yesterday. That's so 1999. We ain't doing that. Right? Because you invest your time, your money, your energy, sacrificing your time away from your family to build up your business, to get that degree, to get that certification, to get that program. You invested. And people got to be willing to invest in you. If they're not your target audience, because people who understand what it means to grow themselves in their space, they're willing to invest. They're not going to go over to that university and say, hey, I want to get a master's degree, and I want it for free. They're going to kindly show them the door with a brochure, with a schedule of classes, and this is the tuition. OU University, SMU is not going to hand out degrees for free. You're going to go on a scholarship, or you're going to pay your way. Okay? So don't expect that people are going to give you something for free. I've always been willing to pay for what I got. And sometimes people have given me things, and I was like, okay, let me PayPal you the money. They're like, it's a gift, accept it as a gift. So I'm learning to do more of that. But I understand the law of reciprocity. If I can give, then I'll get in return. But don't expect to get something for no investment. Baby, that's not happening. It ain't working. And by all means, don't be afraid to take risks, but make sure that those risks are calculated. Understand what you may or may not gain from it, and then judge accordingly. And be prepared for the outcome either way, so that you can have a plan of action, a B, a C, a D, or whatever. And I believe in having a plan A, a B, or C, because I don't want to keep bumping my head on something that's not working. I want to be able to adjust and shift. That's right. That's what it's about. So thank you guys for taking time out with me today for this week's midweek motivation and mind check. If you are watching the replay, I'm Nisi Black. Make sure that you are subscribed to my Facebook Lives. I come to you most Wednesdays from 11 a.m. Central Standard Time to whenever I'm done. And I love doing that. Let's see what else. Thank you for your time today. There's a gazillion other Facebook Lives that you could be out there watching, but you tuned into mine, and I don't take that lightly. So thank you guys for your love, your support, and your encouragement, and your prayers. And let's do business. If you are serious about growing your space, and you're a person of integrity, and you want to do business with me, let's talk. Okay? So hit me up in my inbox. Not with a whole bunch of mess, though, okay? Because sister don't roll that way. Have a wonderful week, and I love you guys dearly. Talk to you soon.